Welcome to Discover Past. What if I told you the story of how a small island nation thousands of miles away managed to conquer one of the largest and richest empires of the 18th century? How did a private trading company, the British East India Company, evolve into the ruler of a vast subcontinent? What were the critical events that led to the downfall of the mighty Mughal Empire? And how did a series of battles and betrayals shape the future of India? Join us as we unravel the fascinating and mysterious history of how the British conquered India, the fall of the Mughal Empire.
At the dawn of the 18th century, the Mughal Empire was one of the most powerful and wealthy empires in the world. With its grand palaces, flourishing trade, and sophisticated culture, the empire was at its zenith. But beneath the surface of this grandeur, cracks were beginning to appear.
Our story begins in the late 17th century with the Mughal Empire, a powerhouse of wealth and culture. The death of Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707 marked the beginning of the empire's decline. Successive rulers were unable to maintain control, leading to internal strife and power struggles. Regional powers like the Marathas, Sikhs, and various princely states seized the opportunity to assert their independence, further weakening Mughal authority. The empire's grip on its vast territories loosened, setting the stage for external forces to intervene. The British East India Company arrived in India in the early 1600s as traders. They set up trading posts in Surat, Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. While the Mughal Empire was struggling to maintain control, across the seas, the British East India Company had begun its venture in India, initially as a trading entity. Little did anyone know, this company would soon play a pivotal role in reshaping the subcontinent's destiny.
Early trade policies and agreements with local rulers allowed the British East India Company to establish a foothold. The company's adoption of technological advancements like steamships, railways, and telegraphs later helped them consolidate control over vast territories. These innovations not only facilitated trade but also enhanced military logistics and communication, giving the British a strategic advantage. A significant turning point was the Battle of Plassey in 1757. Robert Clive, a key figure in the East India Company, defeated the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah, with local allies' help. This marked the beginning of British political control in India. This victory gave the British control over Bengal, one of India's richest provinces, and marked the beginning of British political and military dominance in the region.
Over the next century, the British East India Company expanded its control across India. They employed a strategy of divide and rule, exploiting local rivalries and forming alliances to strengthen their position. The British used their superior military technology and strategic alliances to defeat or co-opt local powers. By the early 19th century, they had established a firm grip on much of the subcontinent.
With Bengal under their control, the British East India Company began to expand its influence through a combination of diplomacy, warfare, and strategic alliances. They exploited rivalries between Indian states, gradually extending their control over vast territories. The use of modern military tactics and technologies such as artillery and disciplined infantry helped the British to decisively defeat larger but less organized Indian armies.
The Carnatic Wars and the pivotal Battle of Buxar further solidified British dominance. By defeating a coalition of Indian rulers, the British East India Company gained significant territories and revenue rights, laying the groundwork for future expansion. The Treaty of Allahabad in 1765 granted the company the Diwani rights, allowing them to collect revenue from Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa, securing their economic base. The British were adept at playing Indian rulers against each other. Through a series of alliances and betrayals, they managed to weaken and conquer Indian states one by one. The promise of power and wealth often led local leaders to side with the British, only to realize their folly too late. This divide and conquer strategy was instrumental in their gradual domination.
As the British East India Company's power grew, the Mughal Empire continued to decline. The symbolic fall came when Delhi, the heart of the Mughal Empire, fell under British control in 1803. The once mighty empire was now a shadow of its former self. The last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah II, was deposed and exiled, marking the official end of the Mughal Empire. The British Raj was established and Queen Victoria was proclaimed Empress of India in 1877. Queen Victoria's coronation as Empress of India symbolized the ultimate British victory. This new era involved political control, cultural domination, and economic exploitation. The British introduced several changes, like railways and education. While some were beneficial, they primarily served British interests and led to widespread exploitation. The Indian Rebellion of 1857, also known as the Sepoy Mutiny, was the last major attempt to overthrow British rule. Though it was ultimately unsuccessful, it marked the end of the British East India Company's reign. The British Crown took direct control of India, beginning the era of the British Raj. The rebellion was a significant event, highlighting widespread discontent and the desire for self-governance, which would eventually culminate in India's independence movement.
The British conquest of India was a complex tale of ambition, strategy, and exploitation. It reshaped the Indian subcontinent and left a legacy that is still felt today. The fall of the Mughal Empire and the rise of British rule set the stage for modern India's journey toward independence and beyond. The British left behind a mixed legacy. They introduced modern infrastructure and a unified administrative system, but at the cost of economic exploitation and cultural disruption. The struggle for independence that followed was a testament to the resilience and spirit of the Indian people.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through history with Discover Past. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more captivating histories from around the world. What part of this story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below.